everyone, and welcome to another review. This time I will be reviewing the e.l.f. Studio Baked Eyeshadows, and I'm obviously referring to the single ones here because they also have some palettes. So there is a total of 10 single baked eyeshadows. I actually have just 9 of them, and the one I am missing is called Bronze Beauty, so I will be referring just to the ones that I have present here. In terms of packaging, these come packaged in this simple kind of round compact that is very similar to the e.l.f. baked highlighters or the e.l.f. baked blushes, and also their baked bronzers. It's round, it has a transparent lid, no mirror, nothing really fancy, but nothing really bad either. I find them pretty sturdy and practical. The shades that I have are going kind of from lightest to darkest: Moonlight Serenade, Enchanted, Pixie, Toasted, Bark, Chocolate Dreams, Burnt Plum, Passionate Purple, and Dusk. Each of these eyeshadows can be used both wet and dry. They are baked products, and they do have that typical domed shape that baked products have. I'm hoping that you can pick up on that. Generally, I can say that they are all nicely pigmented, and if you happen to be familiar with e.l.f.'s baked eyeshadow palettes, I would say that these singles are definitely much better quality than those. Then again, there's also a difference in price. These cost $3 each, whereas the palette comes with 10 eyeshadows and it costs $10. The sizes of the eyeshadows in the baked palettes, the size of the eyeshadows in the baked palettes are of course much smaller than these. And this is how the size of the individual eyeshadows in the e.l.f. baked eyeshadow palette compares to the size of their normal single baked eyeshadows. So you can see that they are a lot smaller than the singles. And in terms of weight, these singles weigh 3.5 grams each, which is 0.12 ounces, whereas the palette has a total weight of 6 grams or 0.212 ounces. So obviously you're actually getting more for your money with the singles than you would with the palette. Okay, so let's do live swatches of the 4 lightest colors. This is Moonlight Serenade, I believe. Yeah, Moonlight Serenade. And this is it on the finger. As you can see, it has a pretty good pigmentation. And let's see how it swatches on the skin. There it is. I hope you can see it. Now we're going over to Enchanted. Again, I'm not flipping you off. Nice pigmentation. Let's put it down on the skin. Shows up pretty nicely on the skin without a primer. Then Pixie, this pink shade. And on the skin, not bad at all. And finally, this one is Toasted that I have on the pinky. And let's look at it on the skin. Okay, so Moonlight Serenade, Enchanted, Pixie, and Toasted. Not bad at all for having barely touched them. I hope that you can appreciate the shimmer on them. I'll try to zoom you in a little bit. Okay, so this is a close-up of the swatches. Moonlight Serenade, Enchanted, Pixie, and Toasted. As you could see, I did not use any kind of a base or a primer when swatching these, and I actually barely touched the eyeshadow in the pot, so I'm pretty happy with the color payoff that they have, and I can attest to the fact that they actually have a very, very nice color payoff when you apply them on a primer. And of course these are all the colors dry, because you can also apply them wet. So Moonlight Serenade over here is a pretty unique color in that it is a white, but it has quite a bit of golden shimmer. I hope that you can see that. So it looks like a light gold where the base is actually a white. It's a very pretty and rather unique shade. I really like it, this one here, Moonlight Serenade. Then Enchanted is more of a rose gold kind of shade. And Pixie is a pink shade. But I would say this is a darker kind of pink. So not bubblegum or baby pink, but a more neutral kind of pink. And then finally Toasted is kind of a coppery shade. Very pretty. So I went ahead and swatched these wet, and I do admit that I did not pick the best location for those swatches, but I hope that you can still pick up on it. This is Moonlight Serenade, this is Enchanted, this is Pixie, and this is Toasted. And definitely wetting them bumps them up a notch. So if you compare them to the dry swatches, which are on the top, you see the dry swatch of Moonlight Serenade, and boom, a whole lot more in pigmentation when you swatch them wet. And the same applies to all the colors. So when you apply them wet, the metallic look in them really comes through. They look foiled wet. Look at Pixie, really pretty. And finally Toasted, wet here versus dry. A really pretty metallic look. I really do like these wet, and I have to confess that I have actually never used them wet on my eyes, but after doing these swatches I will surely use them wet, because when you do apply them wet, there's something else. And here are the final 5 shades that I have from this collection, and let me try to swatch them live for you. This is Bark. Whoops. Nice pigmentation. Chocolate Dreams. Burnt Plum. You can see that I'm barely touching these, and quite a bit comes off on the finger. Passionate Purple. And finally Dusk. Hoping that I'm not totally out of focus on these. So let's see. Let's try to put them down on the arm. Bark over here. Not bad. Chocolate Dreams. Burnt Plum. Wow, that's really good. Passionate Purple. And Dusk. So I would definitely say that these darker shades are even more pigmented than the lighter shades. As you can see, no base, no primer, barely touch them, and you get this kind of pigmentation. So in case you're wondering how I do the wet swatches, I just take a regular Q-tip and I give it 1 spritz of water. This is just regular water. That's enough. And then I dip it into the color. And then I just apply it next to the other swatches. And you can see how much more intense that is compared to the dry swatch. Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, so here I have on top the dry swatches and on the bottom the wet swatches. This first one is Bark, which is a warm shade of brown, and it's really, really pretty for a one shadow look. And look at how much more intense you can get it wet. It has a very decent shimmer. I think it is a gorgeous, gorgeous shade for primarily autumn and winter. I really like this one a lot. And then Chocolate Dreams next to it. Again, a lot more intense, swatched wet. This one is more of a cooler shade of brown, still really pretty. One of my favorites out of the entire collection is probably this Burnt Plum shade. And I do believe that the name can be a little bit misleading on this one, because to me, Burnt Plum would be a shade that would have more purple in it, whereas this to me looks more like a shade that has a kind of cranberry shade, so more to the burgundy side. It's gorgeous. I mean, on the eyes, it's just simply gorgeous. And again, much more intense, swatched wet. You could even use any of these as liners wet. And I just used regular water for that, no kind of Fix Plus or anything fancier. Now the purple, you can see how much it gains in intensity once you swatch it wet versus the dry. It becomes really a kind of a passionate purple shade when you swatch it wet. And then Dusk, which is a gray shade. I would say maybe even with a little bit of a green undertone to it. And another thing that I really liked about all of these when I swatch them wet is that they don't come off patchy or blotchy at all. They're very soft, very smooth, which is why I would think that they would do really well as liners when you swatch them wet. So really nice intense colors, soft, pigmented, and they blend out very well. So I really do like these colors. In terms of general thoughts about this collection of e.l.f. Studio baked eyeshadows, again I'm talking about the singles, as it is plain to see, I would say that if you're interested in any of the shades, you should definitely give them a try. I know that you can also buy them at Target for $3 a pop. Of course, I'm not referring to the one shade that I do not have, but talking about the rest of the 9 shades that I do have here, I have not been disappointed in any of the shades. I think they're very, very pretty. I think they work very well together, and I think they work well together to give you a polished kind of look. They're more on the neutral side with a pop of color here with Passionate Purple, but most of them are pretty neutral. Their pigmentation is really good when used dry. It's excellent when you use it wet, and the shades are very, very pretty. They're all shimmery, but I would say that the shimmer is on the decent side. It does not look gaudy on your eyes. I really like these. You get a decent amount of them. You can even depot them into one of those deeper Z palettes that fit domed products. I really like them a lot. I use them quite often because they are easy to use, convenient, and the looks that you can come up with using these are very, very nice. So I would give these, I would say, a 9.5 out of 10, and my only gripe with them would be that you only have 10 shades to choose from and there is no matte shade. So I would love it if e.l.f. would come out with more shades, a wider selection of these, and I would probably end up buying all of them because I like them so much. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!